everyone, this is Chloe Hartung, and for my project I decided to review Polls Everywhere, and you can find it at polleverywhere.com. It is free with the intro, and you can go ahead and make an account. It costs nothing. If you have a max class size of 25, you can apply for the K-12 version, and that is free for up to 40 people in your classroom. And if you want the premium version, it is $50, and that's for the year. And that will automatically censor and moderate your classroom if you are interested in that at all. But I just used the free version today, and it worked really well. So it is an interactive tool used for audience or classroom participation. So the different features that you can use when you're using Poll Everything, you can go right here to add activity. So you can have multiple choice questions, you can develop a quiz, you can create word clouds, you can have Q&As. In this one, you can upload an image and have students click on it. There's surveys open-ended, this competitions. It does multiple choice questions kind of like Kahoot does. And there's a bunch of other things you can do too, like retrospective, can have students do a reflection piece. Or there's short answer questions. You can put up a map that they can click on. There's icebreakers you can use. You can assign teams to get them working collaboratively. And there's also different things like brainstorming if you're trying to get them to think of stuff. So it's pretty cool. There's lots of different things that you can use. So I'm going to show you guys just real quick what I used this for today. My students have been working on a stellar evolution project in my 9th grade science class right now. So I used the Poll Everywhere just to get an idea of where their heads were at, just to kind of get them thinking. So one of my classes made a word cloud. I asked them to describe their project with one word, and you can see what they did there. Another one of my classes, I did just the short answer response, and I asked them what their favorite part of their project was, and all of their answers showed up on the board just like this one is. And you can make it full screen. I just didn't have it on full screen because I thought you guys might want to see the other features over here on the side. And one of my classes, I asked for them to tell me which star they thought was the most interesting that they learned about. And they can type in their answers and they can upvote each other's, which was kind of neat to see them voting for each other's responses and stuff like that. So as far as the social presence model goes, I think this went pretty well connecting all of these things together. As far as emotions go, it doesn't really affect or apply to affective dissociation all that much. But for community cohesion, I think it's a pretty good example. There are lots of different opportunities for them to work together as a class, and they're all posting their answers on the same thing. I thought that word cloud was a really good example of them as a community, because you can see the things that students are typing more often that they're all agreeing with, those words get bigger. Like lots of them said their project was creative. So I thought that was really cool. It's definitely heavily instructor involved because I'm the one that developed the questions. I'm controlling when the questions come up on their screens, and I'm also monitoring what their responses are. So involvement with instructor is high. For interaction intensity, I'd say this is definitely high because not only am I getting a response from each student, but there's other features you can use as well, like creating the teams and having students work together in teams through that tool is definitely something. It's not something I tried to use it for, but it definitely would help with that interaction intensity piece. And knowledge and experience, you can use the reflective option if you want students to maybe do a reflection piece, or you could check for their prior knowledge. You could use that tool before starting a unit. You could have them take a little survey or do a little pre-test with that tool, gaining their knowledge and experience, their prior knowledge before starting that unit. As far as collaboration outcomes go, I thought that it was more applicable in some senses and less applicable in others. So there are definitely It's definitely applicable as far as shared resources, brainstorming, reflection, problem solving, and demonstrating mastery go. And these are some of the different features that you could use in order to achieve those. Like demonstrate mastery, I mean, you can put a quiz in that, in polls everywhere, and use that to have your students demonstrate mastery. You could have open-ended questions for shared resources or problem solving. You can use that reflection feature to have them write that reflection piece, that retrospective feature, I mean, to have them write reflections. And you could also get them brainstorming with something like the word cloud feature that I used. Some that I thought were a little less applicable, but maybe could be applicable if it's a bit of a stretch. That outreach and authentic learning experience, product development, and immersive and quest-based learning. I mean, you can use the assigned teams feature maybe to help you with getting students in groups to work on these things. There's also the select map feature that you could use, or the clickable image. Perhaps you could use one of those to be able to use one of these, but I thought it was less applicable, and it's kind of a bit of a stretch to say that any of these really apply to that.